we saw the Spider-Verse, and I believe you have too.
Yes, we can both talk about this.
So, spoilers for the Spider-Verse. I think this was meant to have been a series, and because Sony doesn't have a streaming platform, they made it into a movie. Because the setup of at least like the first half of the movie felt very episodic, and I say that in the best way possible because it was the part of the movie that I liked the best.
I mean, I liked the big giant chase scene, which I think is probably what most people gravitate towards too. In fact, I actually found the origin stories to be quite boring.
Okay, but I like how they're campy in that blah 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 radioactive spider, you know the rest.
Oh yeah, no, I meant specifically with Gwen and Miles. Like, it's something we touched upon in the first Spider-Verse film, which I'm not gonna lie, apart from the big plot point of Miles being a Spider-Man, it feels like you could have just completely ignored the first Spider-Verse film.
To a degree, but skipping ahead quite a lot. The thing that they kept very quiet is the fact that, oh yeah, this is not the only sequel that they're doing, to the point that there was a big to be continued at the end.
I mean, okay, you watched this earlier than I did. I already knew after day one that, by the way, there's another Spider-Verse film, which means this film's not finished. So I knew that going in, and I think that softens the blow quite a bit. That being said, this is a 2-hour, 20-minute runtime, and that's a long time to have a film that's not finished.
Yeah, we were getting to the 2-hour mark, and we're like, man, nothing looks to be getting wrapped up yet, and most of the Spideys from last film have not appeared yet, and then they do in like the final scene, and that's it.
Final shot was the killer shot. I fucking loved it. I loved the fact that Penny Parker, Spider-Noir, and even fucking Porker were just like in
Spider-Ham.
they were just in the fucking final shot, and it's just like the implication being they didn't even question anything. Gwen just turned up at their doorstep and said, "Yo, Miles is in trouble," and they're like, "Oh, he's a good kid."
Yeah. But the thing that really sealed it was we went to see it like early in the first week of coming out, so I've done my best to steer clear of spoilers, and we got the fact that when this happened, someone in the cinema just went, "You're joking," really loudly, and cracked up laughing.
In case you didn't know, guys, Rick's Northern.
I'm the least northerner, which is weird.
A little bit.
Yeah. You've heard my folk.
Yes, I described your father quite often as just Wallace.
Yes.
I got spoiled on two things going into this film, and neither were really big spoilers, so I didn't really give a shit. One that was that Spider-Punk is featured quite heavily, which I was happy to hear, because I love Spider-Punk.
Yeah.
The other thing was that Peter B. Parker, which is the old man Parker, who, well, he's not old, but he is old compared to what age Peter usually is. Like, he's not 15 like the rest of the cast.
Yeah, Dad bod Spidey.
Yeah, he's got little Mayday with him.
Yeah, he does.
There was a brief interview clip that was basically just saying, oh, originally we wanted Tobey Maguire to voice him, but we didn't want people to get confused. And I'm like, that's a weird thing to say. And I will tell you this, Sony Studios, specifically the studio that worked on Spider-Verse, they used their live action ties perfectly. The cutaway to Venom, fucking hilarious, loved it.
Yeah, that was great. Like, you had to know what you were looking at to realise what you were looking at.
Yeah, exactly. And I absolutely adored, oh fuck me, I've forgotten his name, but the live action Prowler. Oh fuck, what's his name?
Donald Glover.
I adored that because everyone seems to forget that his character name in the first Disney Spider-Man film was Aaron, because he's the Prowler in that. And we get to see him dressed up as full Prowler gear. Granted, it was only for like 2 seconds, but I loved it. It was awesome. And yeah, Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, a lot more sympathetic in the actual film than what the trailers portrayed.
Yeah, he's given the role of antagonist, and he performs it perfectly in the film, and yet, you know, I thought he was a prick, but, you know, you kind of meant to when you're meant to be rooting for Miles.
He is a prick, absolutely, but what he said, from his point of view, he is entirely justified. And you know how I always say, I'm sick of villains being sympathetic? This is how you do it, by having them not be a villain, just being a bit of a dick.
Yeah, you have a dick who is the antagonist, and they don't see themselves as a villain because they're kind of not. They're just a knob.
It's one of those where Miguel is basically fulfilling the role of the TVA in the Marvel shows, and he's self-appointed sole curator of the Spider-Verse timeline, as it were. The problem is, I'm convinced that he is entirely wrong, and that he's missed something, but the problem is, he's doing this all on his own. He's got no one to input and tell him, well, maybe that's not the case, maybe this, maybe that, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, the thing that I can see as him being his failing is that he went to the wrong timeline and tried to take it for his own, and that's what probably made it collapse.
Fuck me, where's Madam Web when you need her?
In an upcoming movie, apparently. But yeah, that was our mini retrospective on the Spider-Verse, or across the Spider-Verse, sorry.